Austin, thank you so much for having me today. I'm surrounded by fun, I guess I would have to say.
Cool.
Tell me when you turned your passion for what looks like cartoons and pop culture and fun and turned it into art.
I've been, drawing my whole life, really.
Were you always good at it? Did you feel like it came easily to you?
I don't know that I was always good at it. I don't know if I'm good at it right now, to be honest. Yeah, I don't know. I was just, even since I was a kid, my mom used to I would draw on the walls, scribble all over the walls, and my mom would frame them. So it's ever since then, really, is what I've been drawing. And then.
So clearly she thought that you were talented.
Not even so much talented as she was probably just tired of scrubbing the walls, you know what I mean?
Did you have any teachers or mentors growing up that said, hey, yeah, keep at this?
I had a teacher's assistant, so I would always scribble, draw on the margins of my papers, and he would always love my drawings and encourage me to keep doing stuff like that.
What inspires you? What made you want to continue to draw?
Probably just what made me want to draw is just not wanting to work in a factory or something, But
Yeah.
I say my artist statement. I say, I'm just a lowbrow artist. I'm inspired by skateboarding, punk rock, and 90s cartoons, and that's kind of my artist statement. So that's really what inspires me.
When you draw, are you looking at some sort of inspiration photo, or are you looking at something that gives your eye a sense of what you're drawing, or does it just come straight from your head?
It kind of depends on what I'm drawing. A lot of times nowadays, what I do is I just open to a blank page in my sketchbook, and I'll just draw a shape, and then I'll start adding eyes to it and ears and horns or whatever, you know what I mean? Whatever I'm
Yeah.
gonna make a monster or whatever. But if I'm drawing a pop culture thing, then yeah, I'm usually I'm trying to reference it so it can look similar.
And what about things like different animals and that kind of thing? Do you just inherently know what shapes are going to turn out into?
Well, sometimes, yeah. But yeah, I mean, doing fish and stuff, yeah, I'll probably be looking at a fish so I can at least get it a little bit.
So then what's the process when you do like something that you've sketched? Is it then you decide, are you going to put it on canvas? Are you going to do it on the computer? Is that what kind of happens after that step?
So I'll just take a picture with my phone and then send it to my computer, and then I'll just start inking it and tracing it, and then I get this tablet, a little drawing tablet.
Okay.
And so, I mean, I call it inking it, but I'm just, I'm outlining it with that tablet. I add those little scratches and dots. I call it scratching it up. I say that it kind of tricks people into thinking you're better at drawing than you are, because it's just kind of randomly scratch it up to just add interest or whatever.
Is it really random though? Because I feel like it adds so much. I wouldn't know to do that.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it is kind of random, but I mean, I'm just trying to balance it and make it, do what I can to just make it eye-pleasing, I guess. From there, I'll decide, what am I gonna paint it? Am I gonna put it on a t-shirt? Am I gonna make stickers out of it? My favorite part is just doing the sketching and coming up with the ideas. And then once you get into painting it on canvases and doing it, it kind of becomes work, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you know when a piece is done?
Once it's inked, it's done.
Then you don't have any desire to go back and tweak it or add some more little details?
Well, usually once I've done it on the computer, I've already finished it. It's all perfect to me once it's on the computer and inked and drawn and shaded and all that. I used to do it all by hand, but it's once you start doing it on the computer, it's I can hit Command Z and just oh, I messed up that line. Let me just undo it. So I kind of like that. You can copy paste things to make it easier. When you can never get two eyeballs exactly the same, so you can just be copy paste and drag it over.
I love that. What is a typical day in the life? Are you creating every day, or do you have a schedule?
Kind of depends, you know what I mean, what I got going on. But yeah, I'm usually trying to be in here at least just sketching in the sketchbook for an hour a day. And then I'll try to, like I said, just draw those shapes and add faces to them. And once I fill up a page, it's like, okay, there's 3 things on this page that's cool. Maybe I'll start inking it, painting it.
Okay, how do you go from taking shapes and making them into actual art? You have a tutorial on your website. You have several, but I was looking at how to draw a heart, and I was like, what? How do you know that when you do this shape and then that shape, and then you say like, add the little macaroni, and how do you know how to do that?
I don't know how I know, to be honest. It's just like looking at stuff or just doing it my whole life, or you know what I mean? I guess you just get used to like how to, like what things look like. You have to be kind of good at looking at stuff, I guess.
Which I am not. So it's fascinating to me. And I feel like a lot of artists sort of maybe take that for granted. They just assume that people can do that.
Something that the more you do it, the better you get at it, you know?
Yeah. What is your favorite part of being in a creative space? When you are sketching for an hour or when you're inking and coloring, what does that feel like? What's the best part of it?
I don't know what it feels. It's like I kind of get into just like a flow state where you're kind of just like lose track of time and you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, my favorite part is just like the finished product, to just look at it and I'll sit and just stare at, you know, hours after I'm done with it.
Does that make it hard to sell your stuff? Do you get attached to any of it?
When I first started, I like really, really do. Like I would like be so heartbroken to like get rid of stuff. But it's like the more you start selling it, you get used to it. It really feels like you're like selling like a piece of yourself or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it used to be hard for me.
Yeah.
And I used to also like decorate my whole house with the art that I would paint, and then I'd pull it all down and sell it at a show, and then I'd come home and my house would be empty, so you feel kind of sad about it.
Yeah. And then do you just dive right back in and create more?
Yeah.
If you could choose one painting or piece, I guess I should say, that you've created, and it was the one you got to keep forever and ever, what would it be?
So like my favorite thing that I've ever made, maybe?
Yeah, or maybe even if it's not necessarily your favorite, but for whatever reason you have like an emotional connection to it. Is there a piece like that?
I don't know if there's an individual like piece, but a lot of times like the first time that I make something, right? Like I always try to keep like the very first like prototype of the art that I made, because usually it's not as good as the second, third try, you know?
Yeah.
So that's always the type of thing I try to hang on to and keep.
That's interesting. So it's not necessarily your favorite. It's just the thing that you want to continue to build on.
Right. Yeah. It's just like the first one. It's just kind of like a memento or something to like where I started.
Yeah.
And what I can like compare it to where I'm at now.
Yeah. How has selling your work changed the way you feel about art? Does the business side of it make it less enjoyable, or is it just, you know, kind of a necessary evil?
Yeah, no, yeah, I really hate it. I hate like pricing my art, sucks, all that kind of stuff. It's like, yeah, and then you start worrying about like, oh, is someone gonna like this? Is someone gonna buy this? And then, you know, you start spiraling or whatever.
Yeah.
And like, even like scheduling the show, the art markets, and you know what I mean? But my girlfriend helps me with all that, so it's very helpful. She'll tell me like, no, you're pricing that too high. No, you're pricing that too low. Or she'll get mad at me for giving discounts or whatever. Even like I give away all the art, she's like, why aren't you selling that?
Tell me about the spin to win situation. Explain the vending machine concept.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I can do that.
Okay, let's hear it.
So they'll give me $1, and then they get a spin for every $1 that they give me, and then something comes out. It's either, you know, a painting, a sticker, a button, pins, whatever. It could be, you know, anything, and then I send it to them.
And for every $1, you get something. So
yeah, no matter what, you're getting something from me.
Yeah.
It's just a way for people to get kind of cheap art, basically. You know?
Yeah.
I think everyone should have cool art in their house or whatever. So.
But it's such an interesting idea, and it's such a cool way to to enable the average guy to have art in his space. So how did you come up with the idea?
I think originally I just had extra art that I wanted to get rid of that wasn't selling maybe. So I was like, how can I get rid of this? And I love vending machines. I'm really into what do you call it, like claw machines and stuff.
Yeah.
So originally I was like looking to like sculpt little tiny things that I could fit in there. And then I just realized like, well, you know, I can just put painting on here. So when if it comes out, I just pick a painting for them or let them pick a painting.
Austin, it blows my mind that people like you exist, that you can just create cool and interesting and fun art, and it just comes from your brain and you can just do it.
Yeah.
So please keep creating and getting your stuff out into the world, because we need more fun, cool stuff like what you create.
Oh yeah, yep, I definitely will.
Thank you. Thanks
Yeah,
for
thank
having
you.
me today.
Yeah, for sure.